Hi everyone. Hey, I just wanted to come on here and do a video about a decision I've made, and it's a change from something that I've talked to you all about. Um, well, sometime in the last year, I did a video about my bucket list, and the main thing on my bucket list right now is to retire. Because unfortunately, I've had, two brothers and a father who didn't live a whole long time, and it's not a great family history, especially for the males in my family. So I have decided to retire earlier than planned, and my current plan is to retire in 2 years. So sometime in 2026, in between May and November. So the exact date is not known, but sometime in that time frame. Now you might be asking, well, what changed? Well, first of all, in the last few months, two different people, including my financial advisor, had said something about retiring in 2 years. And this is a person who is through my bank and helping me to plan for retirement and set up my accounts, etc. So he said in a conversation, well, for example, if you retired in 2 years, now this is after someone else had said to me about a month earlier, now you're retiring in 2 years, right? And I said at the time, because that wasn't even a thought at that point, I said, no, actually, it's 4 years. But when the two people said that, and in between those two, and I start thinking about things, and I'm like, well, could I retire in 2 years? By the way, that would be when I was 60, or, I'm not quite 58 yet. I've got a couple months, but somewhere in between 59 and a half and 60 is what I'm saying. And so when the second person said it, which was again my financial planner or advisor, um, at the end of that call, and I had had a rough day that day at work, and there's been a lot of work stress and drama lately. And it's just, it's getting to the point where although I still like my job, I don't want to do it for much longer, I guess is what I'm saying. And I'm going to be okay with after at that point. I've already been in human resources 30 years, and at that point it would be 32 years. And that's enough. I have worked by that point 42 years, I think it's been total at that time. So yeah, I'm so ready, and I do want to work the extra year and a half to 2 years first. So I'm not ready right this second, but I mean I'm ready mentally to retire at that point. And so I asked the financial person that I work with, would that be, in his opinion, financially feasible? And so he said, oh, okay, well, let me go back and refigure some things, and then we'll reconvene, and, I can let you know what I think. And so that took about a week and a half, and we did reconvene or talk again. And bottom line is making some adjustments, and adding in some things that he didn't have in there yet. Also reducing the expected lifespan because, I mean, let's just be honest. The chances of me living to 90, which is what they had on the plan, is not very good. I mean, I'll be happy if I live to 85. So we adjusted it from 90 to 85, and that's one thing. And we added on the other side some income in that he wasn't aware of. So with those things in mind and the plan as it was, he said, oh, well, yeah, retiring an extra 2 years is definitely feasible. And by the way, I want to be clear because someone on a retirement group I'm in said, oh, well, you shouldn't need permission from one of those folks. And I said, no, 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 I'm not seeking permission. This is my decision. I don't need permission from him. He's just giving me financial advice, and that's what his goal is in this whole thing. And also helping me be comfortable with my decision, not his decision. So yeah, that's not what we're talking about here. So I am comfortable with it, especially after that conversation and looking at all the numbers. And I mean, obviously things can change in 2 years. We don't know the exact situation that will be happening, but that's my plan as of now, and I will certainly reevaluate it over these next 2 years before I actually pull the trigger, so to speak. And the only other thing that's a big consideration is the medical coverage. Obviously, I have to have medical coverage. I have more medical needs than the average person. and so I can't go without medical between 60 and 65 when I can get on Medicare. So there's Cobra that can be looked at. Ours is not as expensive as some for that at my current job, so that's good news. But also the ACA, or so-called Obamacare, is still there, even though some politicians tried to kill it every chance they had. It's still there, and it's helping a lot of people, and it's helping a lot of people to retire early because that's the way they can get insurance. And some people think there are only expensive plans, and it's very out of reach. But with the current, and for years now, subsidies that are available, if you're not making a lot, and usually you're not making a lot in retirement, then you can get a good subsidy, and that can be a very reasonable plan. So, I have to look into it further. I've certainly done it quite a bit already, but I will keep looking into it and just see what's going to be the best for me, because that's the biggest factor that could potentially be a hindrance. I'm hoping not, and I'm hoping that everything works out according to the way I'm wanting it to. And I just wanted to share this news because to me this is really good news that I won't have to wait 4 years. I just don't know if I can do another 4 years. I mean, it's really trying right now, and I want to retire as soon as possible. And my advice to everyone out there is retire as soon as possible, because you don't know if you're going to get that chance. I look back at my brothers, they never got a chance to even get to the age I am now, let alone retire. And unfortunately, when they passed, they had a lot of physical hindrances and limitations and problems. And I don't want to get to that point without having enjoyed some retirement. And, the thought of being on a Sunday evening and not have to worry about going to work that Monday morning for, the foreseeable future, not just 1 week or 2 weeks, something like that, which, by the way, I don't think I've ever had a 2 week time frame off except in between jobs a couple times in my life. But it's just going to be really odd. Now, some people complain or sort of complain and say, "Oh, I'm bored. I don't have enough to do." Well, if you don't have enough to do in retirement, you need to think a little bit more, because there's so many things people can do. And first of all, have hobbies. It amazes me how many people don't seem to have any hobbies. I have hobbies like toy collecting and theater and bowling and things like that. So I don't worry about that. And, there's also volunteering, and there's so many agencies that could use good volunteers, even if it's just 2 days a week, but it gets you out of the house and it gets you around other people. And so, keeping up with others, joining a club, things like that. And I mean, a club that's, something you would enjoy, whether it's a, group that likes to go to museums, or it's a group that's all about flying, or, all these different kinds of groups. They're out there. You just have to look. So, there's no excuse to be bored in retirement. And, with my husband being retired already, he assures me that he is not bored and he has plenty to do. And I see it too, because he paints, he writes, he has other art related things he does. And, he does a lot of reading too, and things, other things as well. So, yeah, you've got a plan, and to me, that's part of your planning. Anyway, I've taken enough of your time, but I wanted to share this good news with you, and I hope that you all will help me to celebrate this. Thanks. Talk to you later.